A journey to the Minnesota Zoo will allow you to enter another world. A world that you can experience, observe, explore, encounter, and discover. A world where over 1,700 mammals, birds, fish, reptiles, and amphibians live in natural habitat. A world surrounded by 2,000 varieties of plants. The sights and sounds of the tropics are overwhelming. You are surrounded by a world that is lush and green. No visual barriers stand between you, the animals, and Southeast Asia. Birds fly freely in this multi-level exhibit. In fact, our tropics is the home of over 70 species of birds. Moving to the grassland edge of the tropical woodlands, we find a small bird aviary that houses bird species too small and docile to mix with others. Descending into the tropical forest, home of the diminutive muntjac deer, the foliage changes to cup-shaped leaves that catch rainwater, and palm grass and coralberry. Entering the main aviary, beautiful birds appear lost in the foliage. If you look closely at the birds, you'll notice different beaks. The white-crested laughing thrush has a stout J-like bill. This helps him probe and dig for berries, insects, and seeds in the wild. The blue and maroon Victoria crowned pigeon has a soft bill that spreads open both horizontally and vertically. The white spoonbill lives in marshes and feeds on small fish, mollusks, frogs, and aquatic insects, where the 6-inch long bill comes in handy. Entering the darkness, we visit animals that are active at night. The clouded leopard is an endangered species and likes the night as well as the day. We have one clouded leopard who was hand-reared after birth. After 7 weeks in an incubator, the cub was put in a cage with a companion, a domestic kitten. The kitten served as a playmate and helped to socialize the cub. In the foothills of southwest India, we find the Nilgiri tahr. These animals are special to us because we are one of only 3 zoos in North America that are raising them. The Indian broadleaf evergreen forest is home of the Malayan tapir and her spotted baby. Like infant fawns, the spots on the young tapir act as a camouflage, protecting her from enemies. As she gets older, the spots will disappear and she'll look just like her mother.
We have the female and our youngster out on exhibit right now. This is a very important birth for us here at the zoo because there are very few tapirs, Malayan tapirs, exhibited in zoos, and of those that are, there's very few that are reproductive. Most animals we like to have in natural family settings. We like them to reproduce as naturally as possible and raise their young if at all possible. We don't generally interfere with births or raising youngsters.
Feeding captive animals like this greater Indian hornbill is indeed an art and definitely a challenge. They enjoy passing food back and forth between them, then pounding it on the branch. Food pellets crumbled and fell to the floor, and a mixture of gelatin and fruit stuck to the top half of the bird's mouth. Finally, we developed a dense jellied salad cut into small cubes that the toucans and the hornbills seem to prefer. The amazing white-cheeked gibbons with their extremely long arms can travel through the treetops as fast as you can walk, maybe even faster. On Gibbon Island lives a family of 3. The young gibbon was a buff color when she was born and turned black at 6 months. Like her mother, she'll be buff again in a few years. In the monsoon forest, Gibbon Lagoon is the home for many species of waterfowl and the graceful pink flamingos. Umbrella trees, edible bananas, and spiral ginger give shade to the small clawed otters. All zoo animals get fed when they are brought in at night to their holding cages. Zookeepers prepare the beds and the special meals for each animal. The sloth bear may spend the day sleeping and snoring loudly, but at night, his senses come alive, especially his sense of smell. You can see how he uses his long snout to his advantage. In the Malayan rainforest, you can see bamboo shoots that may grow 12 inches a day in the spring. Tropical cycads like these date back 300 million years. The oceans cover more than 2/3 of the Earth's surface and is home to many aquatic animals. The Minnesota Zoo features a 500,000-gallon exhibit tank for our bottlenose dolphins. They eat 18 pounds of fish daily. Feeding time is also the time to watch these acrobats exercise and display some unique behavior patterns. These sessions keep the dolphins physically active and mentally alert.
The care and management of the bottlenose dolphins is a major responsibility of the keepers at the Minnesota Zoo. There are 3 marine mammal keepers that work in the department, and our major portion or responsibility is actually the training of the dolphins. By bringing these animals into captivity, we have a responsibility to provide kind of an artificial stimulations for them, since in the wild, all their behavior is governed by stimuli in the environment. Here at the zoo, they're kind of in a rather sterile environment, so it's up to the trainers to provide additional stimuli for them, and this comes in the form of their training sessions.
Kelp is common off the west coast of North America, and some can grow to 200 feet. Bright orange Garibaldi dart around the kelp bed tank. The North Atlantic community must adapt to high and low tide and fluctuating water temperatures. It's no problem for the sea star or sea robin. The coral reefs flourish in the tropical seas. The rocky reef is a skeleton of many small organisms and brightly colored fish like the lemon peel angel and Auriga butterfly fish make the coral reef their home. There is a special relationship between the clownfish and anemone. The clownfish hides from its enemies among the stinging tentacles of the anemone. In return, the clownfish keeps the anemone clean and brings it food.
The Ocean Trail is situated around the 500,000-gallon marine mammal tank. It consists of 9 marine tanks, 3 of which are 2,800 gallons, and 6 are approximately 260 gallons U.S. These are all saltwater tanks. The specimens that we display come from all parts of the United States, basically the West Coast and the East Coast. We also have some in our coral reef tank from various tropical islands in the Caribbean.
Night falls, and activity increases. Large eyes and acute sense of smell or hearing help these creatures of the Minnesota night adapt to dim light. There are advantages to sleeping all day and searching for food at night. Nocturnal animals can sneak up on their prey, catching the sleepers off guard.
One of the things that the Minnesota Trail does especially well, and we've been commended on by zoo visitors as well as other zoo professionals, is that we rotate the animals on exhibit. This means that either individual animals or groups of animals take turns being out on exhibit. It works out very well because it keeps the animals more active on exhibit. It shows how they would go around and mark their territory in the wild. You'll find over 40 species and about 180 animals on this trail.
A popular and entertaining exhibit on the Minnesota Trail is the beaver pond. We can view the beaver in his natural environment, from under or above water, watching how large-webbed hind feet effortlessly propel him through the water. His chisel-like teeth have given him the reputation of being nature's engineer. Beavers cut trees, build dams, and construct lodges or homes. Autumn is the busiest time, cutting and storing hundreds of trees for their winter food cache. These beavers cut over 1,000 aspens in a year. The beaver pond is home to many other animals. These striking wood ducks flew in from the wild, and they come back every spring. The Minnesota Zoo is the only zoo to successfully hatch and raise a loon in captivity. The first loon born at the zoo lived for 3½ years. The zoo may continue to exhibit loons in the future. On the northern trail, over a dozen species of mammals thrive in temperature extremes, from 20 below in the winter to 100 degrees in the summer. The mixed forest of western India is home to the Asian lion. In the days of the Old West and the North American prairie, coyote, wapiti, also called American elk, and the massive bison ran freely. Bison symbolize the prairies of the United States and are known as the American buffalo. Autumn is a busy time for the black-tailed prairie dogs who prepare for the long, cold months by gathering food. They build entire colonies underground. When they're not quite so busy, they pose for pictures. The fleet-footed pronghorn can run up to 60 miles per hour. It's one of the fastest land mammals in the world. Our zoo is working with the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources to increase the threatened population of the graceful trumpeter swan. In 1933, only 66 existed in the country. After careful breeding, trumpeter swans were tagged with leg bands and released. 18 of the 29 returned to the zoo the following year. These two-humped Bactrian camels are accustomed to the heat of the Gobi Desert in the Eurasian steppe. Contrary to popular belief, water is not stored in their humps. The humps are fat reserves, which can be used as energy for the camels. A camel can store water in his blood cells. He can drink as much as 15 gallons of water at one time. The Asian horses are unique because they are totally extinct in the wild today. The Minnesota Zoo is breeding them successfully, and we have one of the largest herds in captivity. In the tundra area is one of the most misunderstood and misrepresented animals, the wolf, who's really a shy and curious animal. Each pack has a leader, followers, and outcasts. The dominance hierarchy in the pack can be recognized by observing changes in the body posture, facial expressions, and vocalizations. The caribou is the only deer in which both sexes carry antlers, and it's rare that one antler is the mirror image of the other. In the evergreen forests of North America, we'll find the largest of all antlered animals, the moose. These bulky animals are heavy browsers, eating lots of twigs, bark, and leaves in the wild. Siberian tigers can be found in eastern Asia, and it's believed that less than 300 exist in the wild today. No two have the same pattern of stripes, and the facial markings are distinctive. The tiger is the most powerful member of the big cat family.
One of the beautiful features of the Minnesota Zoo is that it's built on 480 acres in east central Minnesota, which has allowed us to build rather expansive exhibits in the Northern Trail area. Our muskox exhibit, for example, is nearly 10 acres in size. Other exhibits range from 1 to 3 acres in size. The size of these exhibits allows natural grazing activities by the animals and allows the animals to exhibit natural behaviors that you might not otherwise be able to see.
The newest additions to the Northern Trail are not northern animals at all. The koala, a marsupial from the land down under, can be found in the Koala Lodge at the beginning of the Northern Trail. While marsupials, animals which carry their young in a pouch, are found in North and South America, Southeast Asia, and New Guinea, koalas occur naturally only in the eucalyptus forests of eastern coastal Australia. The koalas at the Minnesota Zoo are part of the subspecies, Victorian koalas, which are the largest of the 3 identified subspecies with grayish-brown coats. Koalas spend most of their time in the canopy of trees. With heavily muscled legs and sharp claws for grasping, they are uniquely suited for the arboreal environment of the eucalyptus forests of Australia. In the trees, the koalas are able to easily reach the succulent green leaves of the eucalyptus trees, which are their sole food source. There are several hundred species of eucalyptus, but koalas prefer to browse only on a few dozen of the species. Koalas emit a characteristic odor similar to that of a cough drop as a result of the eucalyptus diet. Koalas now enjoy protective status in Australia. However, in the early 1900s, they were hunted both for sport and for their fur. Industrialization, deforestation, and brush fires also took their toll. As a result, koalas were virtually eliminated from New South Wales and Victoria. As recently as 1927, an open season was declared on koalas, destroying 500,000 animals. Soon after, Australian legislation for the protection of koalas brought an end to the killing. However, the koala's future existence is still precarious. Loss of habitat has resulted in serious problems for their long-term survival. Outside Australia, koalas are found only in zoos in Japan and North America. The Minnesota Zoo is the 6th American zoo to house a permanent exhibit of koalas. Our animals come from the Los Angeles Zoo and are here on a permanent breeding loan. In Minnesota, animals learn to adjust to the harsh winter. Many welcome the cold. The lynx thrives in severe winters. It's during the winters that the lynx gets less competition from the bobcat for food. The bison has a thick, shaggy coat. Like snow plows, they'll use their heads to sweep snow away from the grass. The Asian wild horse has a 6-inch long coat and a tuft of chin hairs which gives him the woolly bearded look. The Bactrian camel's coat becomes longer and denser. In Mongolia, camel wool forms 27% of total wool production. The musk oxen can face Arctic blizzards without shelter thanks to a remarkable coat. Little body heat escapes. Side hairs may grow to 3 feet. The Discovery Trail offers a chance to experience some unique animals by touching and feeding. Many of the zoo volunteers assist with our hands-on experience.
Discovery Trail is a unique part of the Minnesota Zoo. It's one of the few places where you get a chance to contact with animals. The Children's Zoo, the Zoo Lab, a chance to see special events such as a bird show. It allows children of all ages a chance for contact with animals. We find this is very important for this contact for individuals and kids to spend time in close proximity with wildlife and to develop that proper attitude adjustment concerning the future about wildlife.
At the Children's Zoo, we can travel on the ship of the desert, the camel. The animal barn features exotic domestic animals like the fjord horse from Norway, a llama from Peru, and even Santa's reindeer. We can interact with the animals in the contact yard. Our last encounter on the Discovery Trail is Steve Martin's World of Birds show.
We open our show with one of the most frustrating critters many people have ever had as a pet. It's a parrot. Look, will you listen to me? Listen. Are you listening? Okay. Well, we've got a vulture to show you next, but this vulture comes from Africa. Here he comes, right over your heads. Higgins, again, is a white-backed vulture. They get their name for the white feathers on their back right between their wings. You can see those white feathers pretty well as he flies. Back to this stump over here, that boy, Higgins. This little guy's name is Scooter. Come on out here, Scooter, that boy. Difference between a raven and a crow. Crows are smaller than ravens. Now, in order to demonstrate Scooter's intelligence, I need the help of a couple volunteers. I need somebody with a dollar bill. There we go. You ready, Scooter? Show us what you do with all those $20 bills you find. Get that bill any way you can. Right back to me. What do you do with those $20 bills? Right there, that boy.
Well, we got another little African gray parrot here to show you. I'd introduce him, but he likes to tell everybody his own name.
Alexander.
Alexander the Gray. Alex, can you tell everybody hello?
Hello.
How about in a different voice?
Hello.
That was good, too. Just to show you something, how smart we think he is. Alex, what's 1 + 3?
4.
Steve's going to come back out and show you folks some more interesting birds, so in a really nice voice. Can you tell everybody goodbye?
Goodbye.
That boy. How about a nice wave for everyone? That boy. Thank you.
Next, we have a Harris hawk to show you. Harris hawks are found in Arizona and Texas. They're known for their intelligence and their powerful flight. We can demonstrate both those today with this little guy. All right, here we go. That boy. Thank you very much. You know, we're using up this earth and killing off species at an alarming rate. Over 1 species a day goes extinct right now. But if the present trends continue, within 15 years, over 100 species a day will disappear forever. These are species that we rely on for our own survival. You see, the disappearance of any one species severely affects the survival of many other species, including humans. And no one species can live alone.
It's about time we start to see it. The earth is our only home.
Spring and summer are always busy times for zookeepers. Daily tasks of feeding and cleaning are just part of the job. They must prepare for the population explosion that takes place. The pronghorn are very sensitive animals and are easily spooked. Because of this, fawns are raised by hand at the zoo. The Bactrian camel calves may appear a bit lopsided at first. That's because they haven't developed their fat reserves yet. The Japanese snow monkeys share the responsibility of raising infants. Like the curious infants of the animal kingdom, our journey of discovery must continue. By asking questions, being eager to learn, and willing to explore and observe, we will understand and cherish wildlife. For many animals, our zoos become a home or refuge from permanent extinction, a Noah's Ark. If we don't continue to appreciate members of the Earth's animal kingdom, we may lose them forever.